29 million girls, women victims of modern slavery, report.
Here's a summary of the article.
Tanzania. A new report estimates that 29 million women and girls are victims of modern slavery, exploited by practices including forced labor, forced marriage, debt bondage and domestic servitude. Grace Forrest, co-founder of the Walk Free anti-slavery organization, said Friday that means 1 in every 130 women and girls is living in modern slavery today, more than the population of Australia. Walk Free defines modern slavery as the systematic removal of a person's freedom, where one person is exploited by another for personal or financial gain, she said. Forrest said the global estimate of 1 in 130 women and girls living in modern slavery was made based on work by Walk Free, the International Labour Organization and the International Organization for Migration, both UN agencies. According to the report, titled, Stacked Odds, women account for 99% of all victims of forced sexual exploitation, 84% of all victims of forced marriage, and 58% of all victims of forced labor. She said the estimate of women and girls in modern slavery is conservative because it doesn't account for what's happened during the pandemic, which has seen sharp increases of forced and child marriage and exploited work conditions around the world. Forrest said Walk Free and the UN's Every Woman Every Child program are launching a global campaign to demand action to eliminate modern slavery.
This post received a score of 31,000, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I sometimes debate with people who say slavery doesn't exist among them, or that they're well-treated servants rather. Sometimes they claim they're POWs. If a person can be bought and sold, and if they are not allowed to run away without consequence, that's slavery and a human rights abuse. No excuses. As for POWs, the Third Geneva Convention, Section 2, Article 118 requires POWs to be repatriated ASAP, not to be held in captivity. Too many fucking excuses for backwards bullshit.
You seem to be debating the more civilized of slave apologists. I've debated people who claim slavery is purely a matter of supply and demand. That morality does not exist, therefore rape and slavery is perfectly natural. I've met some truly soulless monsters online.
I hate how natural is used to imply good, correct, acceptable. Cyanide is perfectly natural. That doesn't mean you want to eat it. Cancer is quite natural, but you don't want to get it. Having every fourth newborn die in their first year is natural, but that doesn't mean we should just let it happen.
I agree. Not only is it wrong, it's a logical fallacy called an appeal to nature, argumentum ad naturam. Nietzsche, in his book, Beyond Good and Evil, argued that since rape and incest was both found in nature, both should be considered acceptable behavior. He had some good criticisms, but also some really bad ideas and even worse thinking behind them.
Greater than Nietzsche, in his book Beyond Good and Evil, argued that since rape and incest was both found in nature, both should be considered acceptable behavior. You sure he wasn't poking fun at the people who say, because it is natural, it must be good?
Nietzsche poked fun at a lot of people, but he was dead serious when he wrote that.
I'd wager you'd be able to get this number in India alone, with their debt inheritance laws. Don't get me wrong, 29 million is mind-bogglingly much, but I think that'd just be skimming the bucket.
India's abysmal inheritance laws and caste system is certainly despicable, but forced prostitution is absolutely rampant in all of Asia, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe. Ugh, how depressing. I know there's this toxic Western mentality that being born beautiful or attractive automatically means you get a fast track to an easy life of anything you want, but it can be every bit a curse as well when you're facing attention from power or sexual assault with no recourse.
Forced prostitution is rampant in Western Europe as well. It mostly doesn't affect Western European women, girls, but it is definitely widespread. I would assume the situation is similar in the Americas.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.